Hello, Chengi's World. Hi, ladies. It's so good to have you back on this video. I am Chengi, and you, my beautiful angels, are my world. Welcome back to another video. I am having a complete blast. In today's video, we are gonna be looking at the whole the role of technology in dating, how it has affected how we communicate, and really exploring how to really handle dating in the 21st century, especially for us women. I'm going to be talking about some of the pros and the cons, and how to really position ourselves to be in a winning situation when it comes to cyber or internet relationships. Okay, so if you are interested in finding out how to deal with it, or you are interested in how you can see how messaging and technology and cyber world has affected the way we relate in relationships, then this video is completely and absolutely for you. And if you like the sound of that and you'd like to get more videos from me, and you are new to this channel and you want to be one of my little angels, make sure you subscribe down below. Hit the like button if you like what you hear, and join me on Instagram and Facebook at Chengi's World so we can keep this conversation going. Yeah. Okie dokie. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and actually a guy friend, and he was just talking about how difficult he found it to be dating this girl who just wouldn't make a call or actually see him in person. Now, we sometimes think that this is a problem that only us women have, but I believe that it's a 21st century problem, actually. I believe that with the rise of technology and our ability to hide behind devices, we have become less than our humanity was designed to be. It's so much easier to be sassy, sexy, and exciting when you are behind a device, wearing your pajamas, sitting in your front room, having a cup of coffee, than it is to be out on an actual date. We say things via messaging, via telephone, via Skype that we wouldn't necessarily say if we were right in front of that person, feeling their energy, reading their body language. There's certain things that we wouldn't dare say. There are things that we would read differently. There are things that would probably not need articulating so much, because you can read body language. You can read that question has actually upset them, then you can fix it in that moment. You know, so what has become of us is that we are bolder, and therefore we are more capable of also hurting each other so much more. Misunderstandings become super huge when we do that. But there is the other extreme. The other extreme is that people are falling in love head over heels, absolutely, over a person that they met online and have a cyber relationship with. I met this lady, really intelligent, well put together, seemed decent together, and she was talking about this guy, and she's met this man, and all her friends were like, oh, she's met this great guy, and they're talking about this guy, and I was thinking, whoa, he sounds amazing. You know, she pulled out a picture of him. I was like, whoa, right, girlfriends pulled, you know. And she was really excited and talking about this guy. And I said to her, so where did you guys meet? Oh, we've met online. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. It's such a great place. Anyone who follows me knows that I am very much pro online dating. I feel if you're a single girl, you need to have that on a portfolio, especially if you're serious about meeting somebody and really sort of driving towards a serious commitment, then that is something that you absolutely have to consider. Otherwise, you're going to be out every night trying to meet someone, or you have to be somebody who's very outdoorsy, goes out a lot, because that's the only other option, other alternative. So I was very much, oh, well done, you know, I'm glad. She was telling me that she'd been divorced, and you know, that's an easy way of easing yourself into the dating world. And I said, oh, so how many times have you met? I said, how long have you known each other? And she said, oh, we've known each other for a whole year. And I said, oh gosh, so how many times have you met? Turns out she'd never met him. Like, she'd not actually physically met him. And it never occurred to her that he could be married, that he could be, what kind of situation is that? I was just flabbergasted. I kept looking at her like, for real? And I didn't want to, I wasn't sort of talking to, I wasn't there on the capacity as a love coach, Chengi. I was there doing makeup on a bride. So I was like, I can't do this, right? How is it possible that you, and sadly and unfortunately, this is happening to so many men and so many women. People are falling in love online with a fantasy. It is so easy to create a fantasy of yourself behind a device. It is so easy to create and create a world that is not particularly true behind a device. And I keep saying to women, do not allow yourself to talk to a guy more than 3 times via text or telephone without him setting a date. If somebody is not setting a date, it's because they don't want anything real with you. They don't want anything real. Maybe they're in a relationship and they're just using you to feed their ego. Somebody who is content to be behind a device does not want connection. That is the first thing you have to realize. Even if you're dating a guy that you met in person, and he refuses to pick up the phone and speak to you, and he doesn't set up dates to be in your physical company, it means you are in a relationship or dating somebody who does not want to connect with you. And we don't ultimately commit to people that we are not connected with, right? So we need that connection in order to be sure that we can commit. So you've got these 2 separate situations where relationships are literally being destroyed, because if I am upset with a guy, I can just send him a text. I can send him a voice note. I can utter what I like, but I'm uttering it into a device. I'm not actually telling this person, this human person, looking them in the eye, feeling their energy, knowing how they feel. God knows how they might be busy in a meeting. They might have had a bad day, but a text will never reflect that. It will never understand that. It won't decide to ping on his phone at the best possible moment. And then what happens is he'll just text you back a really cold response or something or the other. And I have seen so many relationships ruin over text messaging. I ruined enough of my own. I sent enough relationships to the grave over texting, over trying to use cyberspace to connect with somebody. I have too been a victim of falling for somebody online because of an exchange and actually meeting them and realizing actually we have no chemistry, or you're not who you really say you are. It is so important in this day and age, ladies, that we become aware that there is this seduction to fall in love with an idea of somebody. We need to respect and honor the ancient ways and the ancient past. We must understand that no matter how far technology takes us, we are still human. And our humanity requires connection. The energy in our humanity requires that we interact and interface with one another in order to feel each other's energy and be responsive to what's going on in that moment. I always say to people, even couples, if you're fighting or you stop sending messages, sit down with each other in each other's space, and everything will become crystal clear. It's so much easier to iron out issues, get to the bottom of things when you are actually face to face with your boo or the person that you were dating. If you are tempted to send hurtful, difficult messages, ask questions that you wouldn't ask in person, don't do it. Your goal always, ladies, is to get a man to show up physically, to get a man to be present. Okay, so I need you to understand that it's a very dangerous time right now. We lose our head over, I saw that he read the message and is not responding. And then we get into one, right? We bring out our crazy. Our crazy comes to town, right? Oh, how is it possible that I've just shared this heartfelt, emotional thing? He's read it and he's not answering. Well, he might be in a business meeting. He might be driving. He might not want to answer, but you're forced your will and your emotions onto somebody, and then you want them to respond because they've read it. Why don't you just wait until you can have a sit-down conversation? How about sending a message to say, baby or sweetie or hun, look, I've got something that I really want to talk to you about. When is a good time for you to talk? Do you think you can call me, or we can meet up and have a conversation? Most guys will be so happy to do that for you. We are journeying into a very dangerous place, and technology is giving us an excuse to be wimps, to be inappropriate, to be uncaring of one another, and that happens too online. People are just so happy to talk to you for a little bit, then delete you off their Tinder or delete you off their Match or whatever. It's just so easy at the drop of a hat, and we're dehumanizing ourselves. We're taking the humanity out, and we're becoming like machines, and we're causing hurt on the other side, but we don't even realize it's happening, and it's happening to us as well. So we have to be the change that we want to see. We have to create a standard of I'm an angel. Like, I am one of Chengi's angels, and I just don't mess around like that. I bring a man to boot. I expect a man to show up physically. I expect him to show up with a phone call, and I expect that my texting life, in ratio to the amount of times that we meet and the amount of times that we speak on the phone, is the minimal. That we use texting to communicate urgent communication, to send sweet texts. Remind him that he's a great guy. Remind him that you value him. Remind him that he's precious. Reminding a guy that you love his eyes. That's a beautiful text to receive. It's wonderful when your phone pings and somebody's just saying, hey, I love your smile, I kind of miss it. You know what I'm saying? Hello. Okay, so text and technology can do so much good. It can connect people. It can introduce people in a way that is faster, more effective, more efficient, especially with a lot of these dating sites. They're so good. They study your habits. They ask you questions. They do your profiling, and they really do present people that you're more likely to be compatible with than not. I think it's brilliant. It's a brilliant way of matchmaking. I think technology can really, really introduce people, but it just cannot connect people. And that's my point here. An introduction is valuable, but a connection is something that must happen on a very primal human level. We must sit down. We must smell one another. We must be in each other's company and each other's presence. And we've got to be really careful. If you're caught up in a cyber relationship, if your relationship is mainly online, or in some sort of cyberspace, then you need to question what the validity of that relationship, because you could be wasting your time. And I would probably say 99.9% of the time you are wasting your time, and you are buying into a lie, into a fantasy. I beg your pardon. So I really want you to consider really looking at that and taking your relationship off cyberspace as quickly as humanly possible. So what you just need to do is, when you meet somebody in cyberspace, you need to make it very clear to them, hi, is really great. I'm the sort of girl who likes to meet my guy and really decide whether I've got connection or I really like them or not. Make it very clear that if there's no meeting involved, I'm really not trying to, I'm happy to talk to you to a point where you feel comfortable to ask me out for a date, but I'm not prepared to do this for any longer than 3 conversations. I am very strict about that, because I don't want to fall in love with somebody or get to really like somebody who I have no chemistry with, who's not going to show up looking the way that, there's so many variables. And so I'm very clear, and you as a woman, a high value woman, need to be extremely clear. If you're dating somebody who likes to keep things in the cyberspace, it's really very important that you let them know that you are not comfortable with that relationship, and to bring it into the natural space. It is so important that we honor our humanity and our spirit and our soul and our ability to connect through actually meeting someone, and save ourselves some valuable time. The whole point of technology is to save time, but I find we actually end up spending more time rather than saving time, because we then use it as a crutch, as a substitute. We must understand that technology has a limit. It has a limit. So, even as I build Chengi's World, I'm glad that you guys connect with me on this platform. But I also know that the value you can get from me by actually being in my presence, by actually being on the phone through my coaching program, or being on one of the events that I'm going to be holding soon, that value is very different. from what you would get from a 15-minute video. So I want you to begin to think, and I advise you to, and I encourage you to begin to consider taking your relationships off cyberspace, and do it with your girlfriends too. Don't be the girl who's just okay to send a text to your girlfriend. Pick up the phone and say, hi, how are you doing? It might end up in a longer conversation than you want it to be, but get used to requiring people to come off cyberspace and actually connect with you, to get a voice reading, to get an energy reading from actually being in somebody's space. So I really hope this video was helpful and has made you more cautious. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. Okay, leave a comment about how you have found, how has technology helped your relationship or hindered it. If you are one of the women who's lost something precious through cyberspace, I put your hand up, little finger up, little finger emoji. Oh, yes, ma'am. Gonna put it down there. And let me know what happened in your situation, because if we don't stem this, we're going to go into crisis mode. So we want to be able to use technology. So I really hope you enjoy this. Join me on Instagram and Facebook at Chengi's World. I am always so excited to have you guys in my life. Thank you so much for joining me on this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care of you. Mwah.